Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Corey C., former Icon Census ambassador and team member of Icon Mitos. I'm here with a very special guest, somebody who is highly venerated in the Icon community, and rightfully so, for the amount that he's done for Icon. Peter Saddington, everybody. How are you, Peter? How's everything? It's been a while since we spoke. I can't believe it's been almost a year already.
I know. February of last year is the last time we got on here.
I know.
Thanks so much for bringing me on, Corey, to your podcast and your show. I'm glad to be here, and yeah, let's get into it.
Definitely,
there's so much to talk about.
I know, and I'm so excited to hear about everything that you have going on. Congratulations on Emirate, by the way. I wanted to say thank you. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you on that. It's really amazing what you've accomplished, and I see you on social media all the time, and it's just amazing. And I'm really happy that you are now a public representative in the Icon ecosystem.
which might seem counterintuitive, since I'm full-time on another crypto startup where we're trying to change the world again, but there's reasons for doing so. There's many reasons for doing so. We'll get into that in a little bit. But again, thanks for bringing me on, and I'm ready to hopefully encourage people on what Icon's all about.
Absolutely, man. And I just want to say congratulations formally on becoming a top 35 P-Rep in such a short amount of time. Seriously, it's well deserved. It really is.
72 hours.
I couldn't believe it. 3 days. And you're in the top 35, and that's amazing. It really is, and it goes to show the reputation and the love that you have from the Icon community and the individuals who support you, and there are so many, and I really am grateful that you're here. So thank you so much, and I'm very excited to get into these topics. So for those who may be new to the Icon project, would you be able to discuss your affiliation and history with the Icon project?
Sure. Yeah. Real quick. So I've been in crypto since 2011, have built multiple projects, venture funded as well as bootstrapped in the cryptocurrency space. I love this space so much. And a quick story, being Korean, I was born in Korea, born in Busan, South Korea. I have a particular affinity for that Korean barbecue. I have a particular affinity for my home nation, where all my homies at, and so I make it sound a little funny here, but in reality, the story is that I was looking for some really amazing projects coming out of South Korea, because I had to, and this was back in 2016, and so I was searching, and I found this little project called Boss Coin. Now, I don't know if any of you guys out there have ever heard of this, but this is now a defunct, no longer working Korean cryptocurrency company that had started, I think it was in 2014, I believe. And I found them in 2016, and I just wasn't convinced that they had the right plans, they had the right team, and they had the right strategy. And so I was a little dismayed. And so I continued to do research into Korea. I actually went over to Korea. Some of you guys might remember from the tweets back in the day. But I actually went over to Korea, tried to find some blockchain groups, obviously visited some family out there. And I found out about this other project called Icon, and it really intrigued me. And it seemed not only like they had the right funding, but they had the right strategy of interoperability and connecting, if I remember correctly, heterogeneous blockchains all over the world. And that captured my heartstrings. And so I did a lot of research. I searched on LinkedIn, online, tried to find people, and I'm speaking to all these Korean people, and they're like, oh, well, talk to this guy Min. And so I finally found and got connected with Min Kim, and I was essentially one of the first big trumpeters of the Icon projects back in the early 2017 period. And so did the first interview with Min, kind of brought it out to the world. Really excited, did lots of support socially, because in a lot of ways they're kind of lacking that at the time, and I think they really needed that. And then I ended up getting really involved in my own project, my own crypto project. And so my involvement with the social side of Icon, and certainly the support of Icon waned just a little bit, but I was there since the beginning, and so I'm obviously a big supporter now, and I guess 4 years later, I finally made the jump after a series of really a lot of diligence and research as to the value of becoming a P-Rep. I finally dug in and I said, you know what, now's the time, especially with the new proposals that are coming out, the contributor proposal system, CPS. That was actually a big part of my decision making. So I'll leave it there for all of you guys out there. I've been with Icon down since day one, big supporter, and now I'm increasing my support by becoming a P-Rep.
Absolutely. And I love how you touched on the notion of interoperability. I remember when I first heard of Icon myself, and one of the main quotes that stuck with me when I first heard about Icon was that Icon is looking to allow for different blockchains to talk to one another. It's almost like when two cultures that have never met one another, if they can't communicate, whether that be through language or through symbolism, it's very difficult for cooperation and a operational paradigm. So I was very, very, very happy when I saw that. I was like, this is necessary. We need interoperability. We need the interaction between different chains because we can only go so far. If Ethereum can't connect to Icon or Bitcoin can't connect to Litecoin or so on and so forth. And I think that was such a crucial component of Icon. And then another thing that hit home, we talk about nations. I love how Icon centered itself as a constitutional democratic republic, and as an American, that really, really made me focus more on Icon because of that paradigm. And I wrote an article that I remember we spoke about that you read, and it was an honor to hear that you read it. It was Icon, the embodiment of democracy in the free market.
That's right.
And I remember when Min retweeted that. And that's how I was able to get my foot in the door and to start promoting Icon. And it's amazing that we've created a digital nation where public representatives could be seen as public representatives of different states and communities. And I find creating a digital nation very, 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 it's such a forward-thinking paradigm. And I really, really appreciate that about Icon. And I really am happy that you are at a P-Rep. It's amazing that you're in the Icon ecosystem as a public representative, and I can see the immense amount of support you've got in 72 hours. So it's incredible and good for you, man. Seriously.
Well, I really appreciate. I hope to let nobody down. We have some really, really interesting and intriguing plans coming up. But let's talk about this interoperability thing for just a second, because I think it's important and germane for the context of our conversation moving forward.
Sure.
Is that in 2016, interoperability was pretty new idea, relatively speaking, within the major blockchain kind of circles, as well as social media and as well as mainstream media. During the 2016-2017 period, we had the rise of the ICOs with Ethereum, and that took most of the media, kind of focus. And so there wasn't as much focus on interoperability, cross-chain interaction and interactivity, as well as interconnection. And so we saw this ICO thing blow up in 2016, 2017, 2018, fizzle out. And then we started seeing a lot more media press about STOs, about different ways, different vehicles for tokenization, and obviously financial constraints from governments and these types of things. And interoperability kind of fell by the wayside. Now, speaking of that, that is one of the biggest reasons why, and I think I can jump right into it here, but that's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to become a P-Rep, is because the original intent of Icon, the original intent of this blockchain of blockchains, this master system that would be able to allow all these different blockchains connect, that was the original thrust. That was the original impetus. That was the original idea. And that is the idea that captivated my heart. And so seeing all the dApps that are being created, all the governance that has grown, as well as the community here at Icon, I love it. I've seen a lot of great dApps. I've seen a lot not so great dApps. I've seen a lot of great ideas, a lot of great proposals. But here's the thing. Let's be intellectually honest. Just me and you, Corey. When it comes to interoperability, we kind of haven't done a whole lot. And so that is, and I'm not going to say that that's my promise, but becoming a P-Rep one of the first things that I'm going to be researching into is how can we really begin creating and building the bridges of the Icon ecosystem out to other blockchains and actually achieve either, wrapped tokenization or some interoperability with wrapped tokens, or full interoperability with the right functions and with the right code and these types of things. That's the original intent. And so as I spent the last 6 months researching, becoming a P-Rep, seeing the contribution proposal system begin to get rolled out, at least on the beta, I really began to see that this might be the right time to come in and begin really promoting this interoperability again. I think, and I'm not throwing stones at any of the other P-Reps, obviously, because I'm here to support the ecosystem like everyone else.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of the P-Reps have taken the easy route of building simple web-based applications or web apps, or things that certainly are more monitoring focused, data, business intelligence focused around what's going on with the blockchain. How can I see what's going on here? Can I get some insight to the data here? Like, that's all great. And with blockchain, obviously open source, we can all build these types of applications. But I think the real hard work that needs to be done is the interoperability.
Absolutely.
Are people that are willing to dig in and say, well, how can we connect Icon to Cardano? Or how can we connect Icon to EOS? Or how can we connect Icon to pick one.
Yeah,
pick one, right? How can we actually have transferable data between multiple blockchains, as well as application data and application logic between multiple blockchains? That would enable the Icon ecosystem to grow tremendously instead of continuing to be, I might be wrong here, so correct me, but instead of being a continually growing and burgeoning walled garden. Because I think what we have a lot of is kind of incestuous. We use these dApps, P-Rep made a dApp. Everyone else uses it in the P-Rep community, and that's cool and all, but it's not getting spread out to the overall globe. And so one of the things with building Emirate is my company, Emirate, we're building the global IoT network of the future, and we are a global company. I have employees in California, Florida, Atlanta, Germany, Spain, India, Nicaragua. I have employees everywhere. We have a global team. And so we're trying to affect the globe. When I look back over my shoulder at Icon, a coin that I introduced into the market as one of the first trumpeters and avid supporter, I look back at Icon, I'm like, guys, we've had a couple years now. Like, where is the interoperability? Where is the larger opportunities that exist? And why aren't P-Reps reaching out to I'm making this up, EOS.
Of course.
Say, hey, how can we make this thing happen? Give us a dev resource. We'll give you a dev resource. Let's put our heads together and see how we can make interoperability a true reality. And so that's one of many ideas that we have when it comes to becoming a P-Rep. And one of the things that I want to introduce and as well as promote and support when it comes to the P-Rep and Icon community overall.
That's awesome. And I absolutely agree with you that interoperability is such a focal component of the Icon ecosystem. And I absolutely agree that, there have been many P-Reps that, and they make great content. It's just, we need to focus on the mission that was amalgamated with the inception of Icon, which is interoperability. We need that notion of communication between chains. We need that ability to grow our garden, because as you said before, these dApps are great, but it's a niche dApp for only the Icon community, and we need to expand upon that. We need to expand upon that with the right marketing. We need to expand upon that with the right networking, with expanding outside of the Icon network. And just like Emirate, we have P-Reps. We have, I think, 143 now, and they're spanning across 5 continents. We have P-Reps in Africa, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, you name it. And it's great to see so many people, and it goes to show that Icon truly is a global project. But just because we have P-Reps around the globe doesn't mean that the presence couldn't be larger than where it is now. And that's why I think interoperability is so important, because if we connect, let's just say Ethereum to Icon, for example, then that would be such a huge deal, because now the Icon community is successfully amalgamated with the Ethereum community and vice versa. And that's so important because that's how we achieve mass adoption, not even just for Icon, but for all of the viable chains out there. If we really want mass adoption, we can't just be exclusionary blockchains that can't communicate with one another. We need an inclusive financial system that allows for an interactive environment. And I think that's very, very, very important. And that's interoperability is such a important component. And I'm glad you highlighted it. And that's a really amazing plan. And I think that's incredible. I think that it's great to see P-Reps now with you beginning to explore that notion. And I'm very happy that the foundation, they just partnered with Orbit Chain, which allows for, with different, excuse me, with different coins that are on different chains to be put onto pretty much the Icon ecosystem and the Icon network, which I think is a great start. And I think it's going to show that the Icon Foundation is now starting to see we need to go back to our roots. We need to be the interoperable protocol that we promised 3 years, 4 years back.
I was talking with a colleague of mine about Icon and about this blockchain of blockchains. And it's kind of what has transpired, at least from my perspective, kind of being on the periphery of sorts to the community, is that the analogy that I gave him, I said, Icon kind of became like a church. And he kind of immediately understood the thrust of the context of where I was going. And that one of the biggest problems with churches, or any, let's just say, house of worship,
of course,
one of the problems is that the members of that church, they get so ingrained in their own community there that often churches is where missionaries die or missions die, because now we're dealing with all the politics of the people inside the church, and we're not actually doing any outreach anymore. And 90% of a church's time is to placate and make sure that the current church's members are happy politically, socially, all these types of things, maybe being well fed if you're part of a Korean church, because in Korean churches after church, we go and get food.
That's awesome.
Get some of that Korean barbecue in. But I told him, I said, Icon's kind of become like a church in which 90% of the focus is inward into their own community. And one of the best kind of markers of that is, let's just be honest, some of the infighting that has happened within the Icon community. Come on, guys.
Yes.
I have been listening, and I'm always on it.
I know.
I have been watching. I see and know all things when it comes to the Icon, the history, what's going on behind the covers. Obviously, for many of you guys, I'm not. This is not something I shy away from. My previous cryptocurrency startup had the same investors as Icon does now. And so there was lots of notes shared about what's going on. I know what's going on. And when I see infighting within the community, it really hurts my heart, because this was never meant to be. And so Icon has kind of become a church, and that 90% of the focus is inward towards the community and making sure that everyone's getting their fair shake and their fair deal. And it's like, bro, we can all get paid exceptionally well. Everyone's always complaining about price action. Let me give everyone, actually, you can clip this and you could post this on Twitter. Let me give the Icon community globally the answer to price action. It's interoperability. If you want Icon's price to move from 40 cents back to its previous all-time high at $12.64, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I know these things, guys.
Yep, that's exactly right.
If you want us to get back up to that all-time, then we need interoperability with Ethereum. We need to bring the Ethereum community in to say, hey, you can create dApps on Ethereum. You can invest in Ethereum. You can do all these great things with Ethereum. Oh, by the way, now you have access to all these new dApps that you've never seen, all these new things, and you have better liquidity options with Icon. Now, if we connect it, I'm just making stuff up, but if we connect it to the Ethereum community, and then suddenly we connect it to, let's just say, the IOTA community, or whatever community, now we've created a bridge, and all that mass from all these other communities, Ethereum community, or let's say Cardano, I don't know why that's on my mind, Cardano community, we bring them together. Now they're going to be doing transactions through Icon. Now the price is going to go up because utility has gone up. Guys, remember, Icon at the end of the day is more of a utility token than a store of value. It's meant to be used. It's meant to be staked. It's meant to be leveraged for data transfer, right? if you look at the tokenomics of Icon as an overall, from the overall, general ecosystem and the economies of scale, if we create interoperability, the price will go up based on a function of usage.
Exactly.
So, like, for me, as an operator, an entrepreneur, looking at this opportunity that is bold, it's completely bold in my face. It's like, well, if I become a P-Rep and I begin building the bridges of interoperability for Icon, not only will the price go up and the value will go up, but the value of the applications that I build will have more than just servicing the Icon community. It can service the Ethereum community. It can service whatever other community that we connect to. And that for me is affecting and improving the overall cryptocurrency world, as well as the global economy at scale. And so for me, I find these opportunities too exciting to pass on, which is why I've spent the latter part of last year doing research and making sure that I could set up the node effectively with the right security and do all the right things. And this has been, it's taken some time, and I've seen a lot of the opportunities that people aren't taking up, especially around interoperability. I said, well, why not me? I have a global audience. I can attract great engineering talent to myself. I can build stuff myself as well. Why not take a stab at it? And so I'm looking for the Icon community, the Icon network support, to help us build some real interoperability and some real projects with some real legs on them. I'm not promising it's going to happen overnight, because these things take time.
Patience.
They're complicated, and certainly I'm no expert in interoperability when it comes to Icon and other chains yet. But I do know this: I can learn anything. And so I'm really excited about this opportunity for Icon. I think 2021 is going to be the best year Icon has ever had. And one of the other things that I want to bring to the table as a P-Rep is hopefully begin to create a consortium of other P-Reps that are interested in joining in the interoperability kind of push.
That would be amazing.
It would be great to see who's in the woodworks, who would like to come out and say, hey, Peter, if you have the right umbrella, you have the right P-Rep, setup, an organizational setup, maybe you can help me, and you can help me help you, and we can build these things together. There's so much opportunity out there. I do not see, and this is just my opinion, but I do not see another blockchain of blockchains like Icon out there in the crypto sphere today, with, number one, the amount of maturity it has, number two, the amount of investment capital behind it, number three, the strategy, and most importantly, the overall P-Rep support. And
absolutely.
I mean, there's really nothing. We might be a small blip on the map in terms of overall, like, numbers per capita or total community numbers. We might be small, but we're really powerful. And so those are many reasons why I think Icon is going to have its greatest year, its best year yet in 2021.
I absolutely agree. And I would love to have a P-Rep discussion panel surrounding that topic. I think it would be amazing to have a consolidated front on the notion of interoperability. We actually, and it didn't have anything to do with interoperability, but back in 2020, I can't believe I'm saying back in 2020, back in 2020, I know, when Consensus was rolling around, I believe it was May, we had a group of P-Reps from all around the world that were going to go to Consensus, including myself, to promote Icon. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 pandemic, that was canceled, but it goes to show that we had so many P-Reps that wanted to join, that once we're reunited under a common cause, P-Reps in the Icon ecosystem will work together, and happily work together and cooperate to bring about the expansion of the Icon ecosystem altogether. And I think that's amazing. And I would love to have a panel with different P-Reps about that ability to have that notion of interoperability within the Icon ecosystem. And also another thing that you said about the importance of interoperability, I absolutely agree about expansion. I mean, you said that you always listen, and I see you always listen on Twitter. And a big conversation over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 days, was about the importance of marketing. Now, if we bridge to other communities, it's almost like, I'm going to use this analogy, like Arizona iced tea. You never see Arizona iced tea market because They're a household name. They speak for themselves. It's a word of mouth. Now, if we're going to look at that in an icon-based perspective, if we have different communities that are connected to icon, the word will spread by itself. The word will spread on its own. And of course, additional marketing paradigms will be great. But if you have the Ethereum community, for example, discussing icon being interconnected with it, you just have now an entire community open to the idea of exploring the icon protocol. And that's marketing in itself. And that's pretty much, I wouldn't say free, but it's close to free marketing.
Look, all I have to do, and I say all I have to do, there's a lot to it, obviously, but I'm somewhat being facetious. But understand my point is that all I have to do, because I have a huge megaphone, all I have to do is tell the world that I am creating the Ethereum icon bridge of interoperability to ensure
huge
data transfer, application transfer, as well as liquidity options. All I have to do is shout that from the rooftops for 3 months straight to the Ethereum community, and obviously I have to deliver on that promise, actually building the bridge. But if I do that, I mean, we're going to have a flood of hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of users over the course of a calendar year that are not only going to be interested, they're going to do research on icon. They might actually try it out. If the dApp or the application actually has a solid value proposition and utility to the users, and it's easy to use, like if we can do that, then suddenly we're going to start sucking, vacuuming up all these other communities and all these other coins that frankly need liquidity and need optionality for the lack of functionality that they have. And so we can be that bridge. And I say that's all we have to do, but let's be honest, that's kind of all we have to do is we actually have to build that which we said was the original intent of Icon, which is interoperability and cross-chain platforms. If that's what we build, then people will come and the price will go up based on a function of utility and value to the end users. So can we see a $12 ICX? Can we see a $15, a $20, a $30, $50? I don't see it out of the realm. I was huge into Neo, Ant shares, and then became Neo. I was huge. I had so much research into that coin. I thought that could be actually. I think if I remember correctly, my first interview with Min back, I forget when it was, 2017 sometime. I think the title was that Icon was going to be Neo/Ethereum for Asia. It was going to be a better version of Neo and Ethereum for Asia, if I remember correctly. And so I went on this Neo train for a long time, Ant shares and then Neo. And then when I found Icon, I was like, this right here is the solution that I've been looking for real interoperability around Asia Pacific and obviously connecting the entire globe. And so I think we have to get back to those roots. And so I might be one of the few voices. I hope not one of the few. I hope I'm one of the many voices, but maybe in the beginning I'll be one of the few that'll say interoperability needs to be our focus for 2021. This is where we need to focus. If you want to improve the network, if you want to improve usage, if you want to improve value of the token, if you want to improve the long-term sustainability and viability of this ecosystem, as well as blockchain as a platform, then we have to start connecting, hyper-connecting other entities, other communities, other tokens, other whatever coins. We need to start connecting them to the ecosystem proper. And so that needs to happen right now. Right now, we're fiddling with each other's, private parts and making each other feel good because we're building dApps for each other. But it's like, great, you're building dApps for a very limited community.
I absolutely agree.
It's like, come on, we need to pop some holes in the bubble, let some of the air out, let some of the hot air out, and start bringing in fresh air, fresh ideas, and some real, I'd say more hardcore application development needs to begin. And so that's what I'm hoping to bring to the Icon ecosystem, hopefully trumpeting that and starting to build on that. I also want to share, just in full transparency, because I'm all about radical transparency, a couple other reasons why I've joined and I've become a eter-Rep is I'm really interested in delegated proof of stake. And not only delegated proof of stake, but delegated DPoC as well. these are things that I have known about for a long time, but I'm not particularly seasoned or I'm not an expert in, and I don't mind saying that. One of the things that we're looking to do with my company now, eter-Rep, and our cool spots that we're giving out for everyone for free, these are cool spot miners, is multi-staking ability. And it would be great if I could build, or I could have my box, my hotspot miner, be able to multi-stake Icon as well.
That would be awesome.
Other tokens. And so it would be really cool to create Icon's first miner and leverage DPoS through that, be able to create a system in which you can mine these tokens, stake these tokens, and be able to have a physical piece of hardware that can secure your value at the same time.
That's incredible.
Yes. So super excited about that.
That's incredible.
It really is cool.
Awesome. That is very, very exciting. And the fact that you've joined right when Icon 2.0 is around the corner with BTP, if our new viewers don't know what that is, it's blockchain transmission protocol. It's pretty much, just think about it as the interoperable paradigm that allows for the interconnection of chains.
Right.
And that will be built in to Icon 2.0. So I think it's a fantastic time that you've joined. And these ideas, when viewers see these, they're going to be blown away. When they hear that, this is huge. This is huge stuff, Peter.
I had one guy comment on a DM. He's like, welcome back, man. It's been a while. Why? What made you suddenly want to do this? And I get a lot of inbound. I get a lot of DMs,
of course.
But the thing that kind of stuck with me was the word that he used, suddenly. And I want to correct it to that individual out there. This was not something I suddenly did. I spent 6 months researching this, 6 months digging into the needs of the Icon ecosystem as a kind of a peripheral player in the game, seeing how I could integrate potentially what I'm doing with these great hotspot miners through eter-Rep to be able to do multi-staking, but also the interoperability. So this has been something that I've been researching for a significant amount of time, and I go really deep. I've been going through all the papers, reading up. I've pretty much read, I would say, 90% of all of the other P-Reps and what they've been doing, what proposals they've built, what dApps they've built. And I think we can do a lot better.
I agree. I agree. Constructive feedback. I absolutely agree. And I will say I absolutely agree with you that you've been working on this for 6 months, because I've been messaging you over the last 3 months. Are you going to be a P-Rep yet? Are you the P-Rep? Yeah, well, I know about.
And what was my answer? I'm working on it.
Yep, you're working on it. Yep, and your research, it's that is so paramount. Research in general is so paramount, so that the individual fully understands how they can maximize their potential within the Icon community, or in any entity, any corporate entity, or any entity in general.
Absolutely. And I'm not doing this alone. I have a great community, obviously a social community, but I also have an engineer that is dedicating his time to work with me on this. And so we're a 2-man team right now. We're just in the beginning planning phases of some of the probably lightweight dApps that we'll build, because we want to kind of graduate into interoperability. So we're probably going to be creating things that are maybe permutations or similar to other existing dApps out there. That's okay. It's a free world. But we want to graduate ourselves into the community. We want to earn the respect and the trust of the community by actually delivering real world functionality and real world value to the community. Now, I can sit here and have all these highfalutin ideas of building interoperability and building multi-staking in my mining box. I can say all that, but at the end of the day, I have to deliver. And so this is something that we've been really planning, really excited about. And there's, frankly, I believe that if we can achieve interoperability with Icon this year, we will be one of the best tokens to have and hodl and be a part of in 2021. I could see us on the top 10 lists because we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're actually building what we were intent on building in the beginning. And we're actually going to be, being able to combine multiple communities together, which frankly, most crypto communities are their own walled gardens.
Yep, that's exactly
what they are. We can be that blockchain of blockchain, and suddenly Icon is a household name where people are like, "Hey, you heard about that Ethereum? Yeah, but they're using Ethereum, but they're also connected to this thing called Icon." It's like, whoa, like now we've made it. Now we're really scaling out. Now we're really growing. And the marketing side, it's going to work. Just like you said, it's going to work on it. It's going to work on its own. People are just going to be really excited because of the value that we're providing to other chains out there in the world.
Absolutely. Peter, I can't thank you enough for your time. This is going to be so exciting for viewers to see in the Icon community. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your work in the Icon community. I really, really appreciate that you're back. The whole community is so appreciative that you're, well, not back, but appreciative that you are
I'm more involved now.
Yeah, more. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. That you are more involved as enjoying the public representative race. And I really, really, really am excited to see all the wonderful things that come about from that. It really is amazing. And everybody should know that Peter has always been an ardent supporter of Icon. And, you know, the community speaks for itself, that they all love you, they venerate you, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I hope to bring positivity to the community. I hope to bring a little bit of encouragement to the community. But most importantly, what I want to bring to the community is unity, because the only way that we're going to survive against all the other constraints, all the other variables, the Fed, all the negative bureaucracy and regulations that are going to be continuing to clamp down, our personal freedoms continuing to be expired and taken over. If we can survive this onslaught of things that are continuing to fracture this world and fracture, you know, our communities, if we can be a community of unity, and we can be a community that loves on each other and works together, then we can be one of the few that really truly see the biggest benefits and the biggest, I think, innovative explosions of technology that are going to come, because they're going to come, and we want to, as a community, we want to be there. We want to. We don't want to say, "Damn it!" Like we blew up, we imploded because of politics and bullshit. We imploded because we were just full of our own ego. It's like, I get it, like I totally get it. But man, if we want to see the biggest benefits and biggest rewards that cryptocurrency can bring to the entire world, then we're going to have to be a unified front. We're going to have to survive these cold, long, dark winters together. And we're going to have to be able to be the bridge where other communities aren't willing. So I believe that Icon has the ability and the willingness to be the interoperability chain of choice for the global community in the future. And Corey, I could not think of another person to do this announcement with. I'm glad that I'm announcing on my official P-Rep status, and a little bit about my plans on your channel, because I respect you so much, sir. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Likewise, Peter. That you embody the notion of Icon through those words, community through unity. And I truly appreciate this. Thank you so much for the opportunity to bring you on the show again. It really, truly was a pleasure. And I look forward for our viewers as well.
Absolutely. Let's blow it up, man. 2021, baby.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter.